What's up, idols? It's Cece Lesson 3. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. I've noticed something after doing YouTube for a few years now. Every January, I don't know if it's connected to like New Year's resolutions, goals you might have set out for the upcoming year, but I have noticed particular questions I seem to always get January's. Do Korean men like foreign women? Is it possible to date as a foreigner in Korea? Are Koreans interested in interracial dating? Would a Korean man marry a foreign woman? Could I settle down with a Korean man? These are the sort of questions that made me want to talk about today's topic. We've heard all the open-minded jokes. We've seen all the memes.
I'm open-minded.
Me too, I'm just open-minded.
We've heard tale of the Hongdae guy, even though it's not just Hongdae, that just happens to be where a lot of them gather and breed. And we also know that statistically Korean men and foreign women are becoming more of the norm. Even among celebs, if we look at Song Joong-ki and his wife Katie Louise Sanders, married with 2 kids. On YouTube, on social media, you see a lot of content like this. And it's usually with Asian men or Korean men and foreign women, not so much the other way around. There's a few reasons for all of this. We're gonna get into that. Let's talk about why this is happening and why this is happening now. By the way, quick little promo here. On Sunday, I uploaded a new couples video vlog, date vlog on Patreon, me and my boyfriend. I know some of you guys like to see us interact and see us together, and I'm triggering him to be on my YouTube channel occasionally, but for those who want to see more of him, check out my Patreon. There's also all sorts of NSFW story times there. Stories like what we're about to get into today with this video. A lot of Korean guys and foreign girls and the stories that revolve around them dating, hooking up, that sort of thing. And as always, if you enjoy this sort of content, let me know by engaging with the video. Leave a like, help this get shown and spread to the masses via the algorithm. Drive up the engagement. If you don't know what to say, leave a comment below that says for the watch.
For the watch. For the watch. For the watch. For the watch.
For the watch.
Trust me, you guys have no idea how much that actually helps me and these videos. Also subscribe, please. Okay, now the tea. First of all, I want to say it's always been pretty normal for Korean women or Asian women to date foreign men. I feel like that's why nobody's really talking about that now, because for decades, that's already been kind of the norm, especially in countries where Western military personnel is stationed in those foreign countries. We see loads of stories of Asian women and American male military soldiers, for example. I mean, there are a lot of people who are biracial and they had a father in the military. But with the explosion of K-pop, Korean dramas, anime, the Hallyu wave, Asian men have been put on a pedestal and are deemed more desirable in the West by Western women. We've talked about this before, but we all know how in the early 2000s, in the 90s, and the 80s, you know, Asian men were presented a certain way. They were seen as dorky, comic relief, nerds, feminine, emasculated, unsexy, and undesirable. There was also the occasional martial arts stoic guy as well. And now there's loads of media out there presenting them as sexy, romantic, desirable, talented, cute, funny, stylish, perfect. Traits most women admire, desire, and seek in a male partner. They're just so boyfriend. And that's how it appears, right? No matter how many women say what they like, men just don't listen and they just don't want to believe women. They think women prefer the gym bro bod, the rugged alpha, I don't show my emotions, that hyper masculine presenting self. Yet time and time again, women say and show otherwise. And now there's stuff like looks maxing that's popular on places like TikTok, which I'm not on, so I wouldn't know that much about it, but I do know that it's basically a glow up and showing you how to be more pretty and more handsome and look better. So we're seeing the pretty boy get popular in the West again. And I say again because back in the day we had our own pretty-ish boy band craze. NSYNC, 98 Degrees, Backstreet Boys, artists like Jesse McCartney were very popular. And now we're seeing that again in East Asia with K-pop. They're very pretty boys. And there are a lot of Western men who can't understand why these men drive foreign women so crazy. We see them cry on stage and we're like, oh, fighting, oppa, you work so hard. And we just go crazy and we melt. And I truly wish more men understood many women like when guys are vulnerable and cry like a human instead of bottling it in like a psycho until they snap. We like men who style their hair, take care of their skin, have soft, kissable lips, dance well, dress well, and K-pop gives us that. So yeah, like I was saying before, the pairing between Asian women and foreign or Western men have always been a thing, and it's still what you will see the majority of the time. When you see an interracial relationship from Asia, it's usually an Asian woman and a foreign man. Statistically, that is still significantly more common. And usually when you look at a child who grows up biracial, they have an Asian mom and a foreign father. How many K-pop idols is that true with? We got Somi, Kai and his sister, Yoon Mi-rae. And it has also always been pretty normal for Korean men or East Asian men to date outside their race, but it's not in the way that you might think. Older Korean men in more rural regions of Korea have gone through matchmaking services, gotten brides from poorer Asian countries in like Southeast Asia, the Philippines, Malaysia, Indonesia, Vietnam. Whereas in the city, you're starting to see young Korean men date Western women. So it's more of like a catch-up situation than a new emerging trend. Well, it is sort of a trend too. So yeah, we are finally seeing this dynamic, this pairing become more common and more normalized. Which brings me to something I just feel like I feel compelled to mention this. I know there are a lot of people out there who give content creators a lot of crap for talking about this sort of thing, but you gotta understand that content creators make what responds well, they make what people want to see. If it seems like you're seeing a lot of content that says my Korean boyfriend does X, Y, and Z, it's because you've watched similar content to that, you've searched content like that. You have a lot of people who will click on those videos and leave a very hateful comment saying it's weird, it's cringe, why are you making this sort of content? The algorithm is showing you this video for a reason. Either you've searched it, you've watched content that was similar to that, or it's doing really well and popular amongst other people, so they think you might enjoy it too. And I get it, people want to see these relationships be normalized. That's why they search for it, they want to see it. My channel took off almost instantly. It got really good traction from the start because I started to talk about my dating experience in Korea as a Black woman, also just existing in South Korea as a foreigner. At that point, I was living in Korea for 18 months, so I'd gone on my fair share of dates. People enjoy the dating story times, they enjoy dating content, they enjoy this sort of thing. My Korean boyfriend does this, my Korean boyfriend took me here. It's what people click, it's what people watch, it's what people respond well to. No content creator would keep making this sort of content if people weren't watching this content. And the Korean influence is only spreading. It's getting more significant. Korean food, Korean skincare, Korean movies, Korean TV shows, Korean music, of course, Korean fashion, style, all that stuff. And when you're so consumed and so interested in a foreign culture, naturally, you get curious about living there, moving there. So people want to see if it's possible. They look up similar experiences to see if, oh, maybe I can have this experience too. Maybe it'll work out for me too. Maybe it won't work out for me. I mean, before I moved to Korea, I watched a lot of content about foreigners living in Korea just to see how my experience might be. Are they racist? Are they welcoming? Is it dangerous? Things like that. You know, people always appreciate representation and people love to see these experiences documented. And it's especially interesting in Korea because the way these men are portrayed, they're sweet, they're so innocent, they're romantic, stylish, kind, handsome. And again, these are things women like. And hearing all this and seeing this is what women tend to expect. But when you get to Korea and experience it for yourself, Jesus, is this so different. I want all the girlies out there to know and truly understand that men are men no matter where you go. There is no nationality or race that is better or worse than the other. Good ones are everywhere, bad ones are everywhere. Now, that being said, there is one thing that I truly think sets the Korean man apart from other men, and that is the switch up. I think they know we think they're all sweet and innocent because of K-pop and K-dramas and the way that they're portrayed in the media. I think they lean into that, and then out of nowhere they'll ask you, are you open-minded?
We ask you to open-minded.
They feel like if they see a foreign girl in Korea, odds are they're into K-pop or Korean dramas and they got a shot. Don't save her, she's exactly where she wants to be. Before I moved to Korea, I considered myself incredibly open-minded. I like to learn about other people's POVs. I like diversity in race, culture, and thought. Just because I come from one place doesn't mean mentally I stay in that place. I open my brain to all sorts of different people and ways of life. I want to understand things I don't understand. That being said, after living in South Korea, I no longer consider myself open-minded because open-minded doesn't mean open-minded. Open-minded in Korea means you're a hoe. That brings me to another thing I want to talk about that's a bit sensitive and tricky. There is definitely some fetishizing that goes both ways. Foreign girlies fetishizing Asian men fetishizing foreign girlies. I said this before and I'll say it again. There is definitely a difference between having a type and having a fetish. If you're a white girl and you only date white men, that's not a fetish, that's your type. But if you're a white woman and you date Asian men, people assume you have a fetish. It's not the same thing. To me, the line is drawn based on like your goal. The context is everything. It is gray, not black and white. There are women out there who date Asian men because of K-dramas and K-pop. They have this fantasy. But you also have women who are just attracted to Asian men. You love them for them and you're attracted to them. Simple. Cherish your partner for who they are, not for their foreignness or their race. Personally, growing up, I actually dated mostly black men. I've had 5 black boyfriends versus 4 Asian boyfriends. 2 white boyfriends, even though one was only for a day, so does that really count? I've dated 2 Latinos. I had 1 boyfriend from India. I don't know what has happened to me personally, but like since I was about 21, the only men who have seemed serious in me and not just wanting a hookup or schmecks were Asian guys. I don't know why. I've done all the Tinders and the Hinge and the Bumbles with all sorts of guys. I don't filter out certain ones. I go on dates with all sorts of guys, but the only ones who don't ghost me or show actual genuine interest in me happen to be the Asian ones, like the one I'm with now. I mean, personally, not to mention that 3 out of 4 of the Asian guys I've been with were the absolute perfect relationships. What is that English? And distance ended up being why we broke up. My ex in Korea, it didn't work out because of distance. My first love in uni didn't work out because of distance. Like, he wanted to stay in New Jersey, but I want to see the world. And my current boyfriend, the best relationship I've ever had. I've never talked with someone who's so understanding and mature and able to communicate and genuine and honest. Also, my longest ever relationship right now. We're doing good. Who knew it would be someone 4 years younger than me? Not I, said the fly. And the one that y'all, if you've been here a while, you know what I'm talking about. Turns out he was married and had a kid.
Damn!
Anyway, this video is not about me. I'm just trying to offer bits of my insight to this based on my own experiences. So yes, interracial dating is not automatically a fetish thing, but it definitely can be. Sometimes it's about self-hate. Sometimes it's about trying to elevate yourself socially, the way others perceive you. A lot of people across the globe, for example, see dating a white person as like a way of elevating yourself and your status. I mean, we even see it a lot in the States, right? There are certain men out there who see dating a white woman as like a come up, a way to prove that you're out the ghetto or out the hood, or you've done good for yourself. And also abroad in other countries, if you watch like 90 Day Fiancé, for example, a lot of people perceive Americans as being wealthy and having a lot of money, which I don't know where they get that from, but I'm sure that illusion bubble is being popped because of the current administration. So they see it as like a cool thing to date someone from a certain country because it can elevate your status. Like I said, there are all sorts of reasons people start interracial relationships. In an ideal world, it would be absolutely just about love. That's the goal, but people have their reasons. Western foreigners in Korea definitely have certain stereotypes. Mostly, oh, they have money and they're easy. But yo, DVD bongs, love motels, all that stuff existed before foreigners. That's like a Korean institution. They've already been getting down. They're not innocent and they're not abstinent. Also, since we're talking about it, nothing is easier than a man. Can we just talk about that? People say, oh, this woman's easy, this girl's easy. A man is easy. You can approach any man and straight up ask if you want to have smecks, and they'll either say yes or have a hard time and struggle to say no. Like, they'll think about it like, no, you seem nice though. So yes, Korean men are easier than foreign women. Changed my mind. I also think corn being banned in Korea has some effect on this sort of thing. It leads to a bit of suppression, you know? Repression. Don't get me wrong, I think corn is very bad for a lot of people, but I do think it being banned just adds to like this whole taboo topic of smegs that we don't talk about. We can't talk about it. We can't act on it. We're supposed to keep it a secret. They sneak around and do it. They're judged, shamed. You're not supposed to do it unless you're married. And I feel like that has a lot to do with why Korea is one of the worst places for explicit AI content being put out there and deepfakes. Luckily, the government is cracking down on this, starting to take it more seriously, but it shouldn't have gotten to this point where kids in schools are being targeted with deep fakes of them doing inappropriate, explicit things. And when you contrast that to a lot of Western countries where schmegs is openly talked about and embraced, I'd imagine it would feel like some sort of form of freedom to Koreans who might feel suppressed schmexually. Sorry, YouTube's restrictions. And this brings me to another really important point with the whole Korean men and foreign women thing. There are a lot of Korean men who see dating foreign women as a sort of escape. They want to break free of traditional expectations and try something new. One thing I have heard from my boyfriend and even his mom, you're usually expected to do a lot as like an Asian man. Various East Asian societies are so focused on your status, your job, your education, property and cars, assets, things like that. And of course, foreign women care about that too. But I think a foreign woman is more likely to overlook this sort of thing if you're kind and hot. I've heard a lot of Korean men say they feel less pressure when dating foreign women, especially through these story times we get on my channel. They don't feel as pressured to have a certain status by a certain age, have a certain amount of money by a certain age, go to a certain school, have a certain job. They can just relax and date comfortably. And I'm sure it has a lot to do with the fact that certain nationals are seen as like wealthy, like you assume they must have money. So it does you good to be seen with them, dating them. It makes Korean guys look cool when they can bag a foreign girl. They're worldly, they travel, they can show off their foreign language skills. So yeah, to some, foreign women are an escape from their societal pressures and expectations. So I've heard that a lot when Korean men say foreign women are their type because they can relax and also hook up. No, in all seriousness, they feel less pressure being with foreign girls to some degree because, of course, the opposite could be true where they might feel pressured to be able to speak English really well, for example. Or if you bring a foreigner to your country, you have to provide for them initially until they can get their paperwork and start to get a job of their own. One funny thing that I kind of think people overlook with the Hongdae guy, for example, is alcohol. Alcohol makes anyone more open-minded. Alcohol gives you liquid courage, it lowers your inhibitions, and Koreans drink a lot. It's literally part of the culture. It's an acceptable form of escapism in Korea. You have a really hard week and then you get drunk and black out on the weekends. You even drink with your boss and your coworkers in hope of a promotion. There is no such thing as a sober Hongdae guy. Typically, East Asians are stereotyped as being shy, but I think it's more polite. They're polite. They keep to themselves for the most part until soju is introduced. And a lot of them will say they didn't think foreign women would even be interested in them. And now that they know they are, they're making their move, ready to pounce. I mean, it's 2026, and I think the world as a whole is just becoming more connected, more influenced by each other, sharing cultures, sharing people, sharing thought. And it is no secret that Korea in particular wants it this way. They want to maintain a strong relationship with foreign allies, the US being one of them for some weird reason. And I think the Western influence is also affecting how people think and see things. They're becoming more Western, more open-minded. I mean, they're consuming Western. When I say Western, in this case, I'm talking about American because it's a very English-friendly country, first of all. Most signs are in English and Korean, but you can tell they're making it easier for like integration. Western American movies do really well in Korea, TV shows, music, for example. Oh my goodness. You would think in Korea, the birthplace of K-pop, you would hear mostly K-pop when you go out. And that's true in like Olive Young and cafes and stuff. But when you hit up the clubs, it is almost always straight up hip hop, R&B, pop from the West. And all of this tends to influence people. I mean, girls who are like deep K-pop girlies tend to dress a certain way and adopt certain aesthetics and styles. The same is true in reverse, where you see people who are very into hip hop. I mean, first of all, K-pop came from hip hop, but we're not going to get into that in this video. Korea wants to continue to grow their power and their influence and their economy. And to do that, you need outsiders. They welcome tourists, and they're starting to have to welcome foreign workers more and more because their population, the workforce, is aging. And sadly, all of that depends on where you come from. Of course, they want foreigners, but only from certain countries. So yes, I do think while it is very true that we are starting to see more Korean men date foreign women, there are various reasons for that. We're seeing demographics change. Expectations are different. Views on marriage are different.
Marry me please가 참 많네요.
Marry me.
아니 그렇게까지 놀랄 거야? 아니 가사도 틀리니까 그렇게 놀랄만 하지.
좋아하네요.
너무 놀라니까. 이게 바로.
And you'll always have issues like language barriers, cultural differences, family, fetishizations. This is just how I feel about the topic and my sort of answer to the DMs I've been getting, because this always happens around January where I think people are planning a trip for the upcoming year, or this is the year I'm going to make the move. This is the year I'm going to make the trip. And they're just asking like, is it possible? Like, do they like us? Would they date me? Could I get married here? Is it allowed? How rare is it? Things like that. It is definitely becoming more common. I'm not an expert, by the way. This is just my take, my brain based on my experiences. I do hope that one day we can get to a point where everyone can do whatever they want, live their life how they want, as long as they're not hurting anybody, without judgment and hate from strangers. But trolls are going to troll. Misery loves company. There are a lot of unhappy people who cannot stand to see other people happy, so they try to make them as unhappy as they are. There are a lot of lonely, insecure people out there who want other people as lonely and insecure as they are. So yeah, people always ask me, are Korean men into Indian girls, black girls, Latinas? I mean, I'm not Korean and I'm not a man, I do not speak for them. Even if I was, I don't speak for everybody. No group of people are the same. They're not a monolith, no one is. Some do and some don't. These are some of the reasons why. This is my take. So before I ramble any further, thank you guys so much for watching. If you did, remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Annyeong!